Final round of the Charles Schwab Challenge in Fort Worth, Texas on CBS. They're all lining up for a win. Ben Griffin and Maddie Schmid, the inside track, co-leaders at 13 under. A handful within shouting distance, some lurking, some loitering. Shouts to the NLU boys. Scotty Scheffler, often well-intentioned unless it means stealing your lead. Nice shot here at the par 5 first. Would set him up for birdie, but failed to get that engine to turn over. Finished the day 1 under, a 69. Finished T4. The high floor of Scheffler once again on display. Griffin vying for his second win of the season. Won it at the Zurich alongside his playing partner and Andrew Novak. Off to a quick start here. Second shot into the first. 224 to 14 feet. Anybody know any hard games? Griffin setting up a great eagle look straight out of the stockyards, and this steer will play. Griffin, an eagle to start, would birdie the next, 3 under through 2. That any good? Head to the par 4 7th. Griffin in some trouble now. A 5-shot lead, but his third from the rough goes skidding on by. With 2 putt for his second consecutive bogey, lead down to 4 shots now. We head to the par 4 9th with Maddie Schmid, a door now open, trying to gain some ground on Griffin. Looking to close out his front 9 with back-to-back birds here from 31 feet. The putter, his Excalibur this week. Bang! From distance, Schmid back within 2 shots as we turn. Tommy Fleetwood, always looking to climb leaderboards. Here he is at the last. A birdie bid from 20 feet. This one headed for the hole, and a lot in it. And it would just hang there on the edge. The rule says reasonable time to get to the hole plus 10 seconds. We wait, and gravity, it pays off. Patience a virtue in monetary terms as well. Fleetwood finishes T4 instead of T6, a difference of roughly $128,000. Worth the wait. Back to your leaders at the par 3 16th. Griffin holding a 3-shot lead, not coasting to the finish, but this one well within reach. However, a big bounce long of the green. So Schmid trying to take advantage. With back-to-back bogeys at 13 and 14, but making up for it here at the 16th. Inside 3 feet, would clean it up for birdie. A 2-shot swing just like that as Griffin makes bogey from the back. Schmid would, however, give it back. Very next hole at the 17th, his third from the greenside bunker. Wayward. It's never easy. Would bogey there to fall 2 shots back heading to the last. The par 4 18th. Griffin still 2 clear. Schmid long and left with his approach, needs to chip this one in for birdie to apply any pressure, and wouldn't you know it? Pressure applied and injecting some intensity into the final moments of this tournament. Griffin now must make for par and the win from just outside of 3 feet. Got it. What a finish. Ben Griffin is your winner at 12 under, 1 shot clear of Schmid, who gave you a little jolt there at the 72nd. Ben Griffin collecting his 2nd career PGA Tour victory, both coming in the last calendar month. It was the Zurich alongside friends, and here a solo pursuit at the Charles Schwab. It's his first individual title on tour. Next week we head to the Memorial on CBS and Paramount Plus. More here from the Chuck.
Time that can happen all at once. You are a mortgage broker in 2021. In the last month, you are now a 2-time PGA Tour champion. This one on your own. That finish was not easy. Talk me through what was going through your mind over that 4-footer.
Yeah, it was like, well, first of all, it was like whack-a-mole hitting that 3rd shot. Gripped down to about like the hosel on the wedge. But no, I mean, in my head, I was thinking Maddie might probably make that. And I was thinking, you know, fortunately, I had that 4-footer, and I felt pretty good over it. It was just a left edge and trust it and let it slide in there. So awesome to get my 2nd win. So many people to thank, so many people in my corner. I'm very blessed.
A hard-fought battle, fun to watch today. Congratulations.
Amanda Balionis on the post-round interview, and Ben Griffin, a winner once again, joins this list as multi-time winners on tour this season. McIlroy, Scheffler, Straka, and Griffin. This win also moves Ben Griffin up to 5th on the FedexCup points list. And for more, we take you into the Super Tower. Our lead analyst of golf on CBS, Trevor Immelman, joins us. Trevor, this is something each and every week, and we could talk about the difficulty of getting it across the finish line, but Ben Griffin thought he was at a finish line years ago in his career, from mortgage broker officer to now multi-time winner on tour. It's a well-told story, but what does this individual honor mean to this man?
Oh, it means a ton. And as you say, you know, just 4 years ago, he's considering not playing professional golf anymore, and how things have changed. He's been able to claw his way back. And you zoom in even further over the last 5 weeks, how his career has changed. Now a two-time winner, 5th in the FedexCup standings. The world ranking is going to skyrocket, and really has been one of the best players in the world over the last few weeks. And so the sky's the limit. 29 years old. Who knows where he goes from here? He's got a ton of power. He's got that ball speed up in the mid-180s, and he proved to us over the last month or so that he's got what it takes from a guts perspective when he really needs to pull off something special. This golf course was hard out there today, Moose.
It did look crispy at moments, and he handled his lead, one that was 5 and then disappeared, as we've seen so many throughout this season, no matter if you're world #1 or Ben Griffin now with win #2. It's an interesting paradox out here because it felt like Ben was ready to do it alone, and you and Jim spoke on that early in the broadcast about this is a young man who has the skill and the moment belongs to him here on Sunday. What does it mean to be ready to win on the PGA Tour?
Well, you're just proving to yourself that the hard work, the sacrifice, you know, all the effort that you've put in has been worthwhile. You know, so often you spend the majority of your career losing and struggling, and at times trying to find it. And when you start to get into these purple patches where things go your way, your confidence starts to build, and you can rattle off a few wins like that, it makes it so much better for you, for your team, everybody around you. And this is a win he's going to be enjoying for quite some time. Look, Zurich was great, but it was a team win. And he had Novak by his side trying to help him there. This is all by himself on a golf course that was asking some very, very difficult questions. You look at the up and downs on 14, 15, and then on 18 to get the win. It was a huge gut check, and he stood up to that challenge and did brilliantly. Yeah,
eagle birdie to start, a strong indicator, but it's never that straightforward. Trevor Immelman, we appreciate your insight as always, my friend.
Thanks, Moose.
A look here at Ben Griffin's PGA Tour wins. The Zurich on April 27th. A month later, just about. Charles Schwab Challenge belongs to him, and he walks alone in the sun this time. It's an individual pursuit, the game of golf, and he clips off his first individual victory. Ben Griffin, now a two-time winner on tour.
His dream comes true.
Ben Griffin, a winner again, as am I, joined by Patrick McDonald and Rick Gehman. Gentlemen, this is another moment for Ben Griffin, but a different type of one, getting his first individual honor. Patrick, not all that make their way to the mountaintop go from prodigy to pro, and this is quite a circuitous route for Griffin to this very moment. What does an individual win mean to him?
I think it really shows all that hard work paying off for him. This is a guy who his journey is well documented, going from mortgage loan officer to the Korn Ferry Tour, back to the PGA Tour, all within a span of 4 years. Gets that win with Andrew Novak, obviously. But we were talking with some pros at the PGA Championship, and they're like, would you really want your first win to be a team event? I feel like these guys still have a little bit of unfinished business out there, and we saw Griffin get off it right there at the Charles Schwab Challenge. So this is a guy who added a ton of ball speed. He's a guy who played every single week leading up to the Masters, trying to get inside the top 50 in the OWGR, trying to get that final invite. Fell just short when Minwoo Lee won and Michael Kim skirted in, but kept his head down, got his best major finish at the PGA Championship, and then comes back and grabs this title in ugly fashion. It was another reminder that you don't need to be perfect Sunday on the PGA Tour to win, and all that hard work really came through for him.
Yeah, it was a lot of cushion for Ben Griffin that came in handy the first 3 rounds, you know, to pile up a couple of strokes there so that he could struggle a bit coming in. And just the way he started these rounds, guys, I love the way he played number 1 and number 2 all week long. 8 under for the week. You throw in number 3 as well. That gets you to 10 under for the week on those 3 holes alone. Getting off to a really good start, I think, is a sign of a prepared golfer. And to speak to what Patrick was referring to, I mean, Ben Griffin has been in the routine of playing week in and week out basically all year long. The guy has rarely clearly taken a week off. And again, that speaks to his preparation. And to go back to the conversation around, do you want your only win or do you want your first win to be a Zurich Classic win, a team event? It's okay as long as it's not your only win. And now Ben Griffin has checked that box off as well. So I don't know if I expect 2 wins every year from Ben, but he's certainly flying high right now.
We talked about it earlier this season. The sample size is small, but players who get their first win at the Zurich don't often go on to parlay it into much more. There are far more Jonas Blicks than Cam Smiths, let's say, and now we have Ben Griffin situating into the ladder. I'm not sure we're there quite yet, but it is a second win and an affirming one. How does one translate to the other in your eyes, Patrick? That win and the confidence built and what he accomplished here on Sunday?
I think you look at Ben Griffin as a guy who's clearly riding the momentum, this 5-week span that he's on, winning the Zurich Classic with Novak, and then also getting himself in the mix at the PGA Championship. Arguably did more for his confidence going against the likes of Rahm, DeChambeau, Scheffler. Seeing your name on the leaderboard and thinking to yourself, okay, maybe I belong on this stage, right? And we heard it on Saturday night. He said, hey, look, I'm a PGA Tour winner this season. He beat someone like Rory McIlroy and Shane Lowry alongside Novak there at the Zurich Classic. He beat someone like Scheffler today. Fleetwood, I know, Joe, you have some words about him potentially. And so it just really adds to that confidence of, hey, these world-class players, these guys who have been around the block once or twice, maybe my name belongs up there too every once in a while.
I didn't realize we were going to get a Jonas Blix reference on this show, but I'm thrilled.
I didn't feel good about that ricochet shot. I do apologize.
No, I'm thrilled about it. Well, I think we're going to learn a lot about Ben Griffin over the course of the rest of the year, right? I mean, he's in everything now. He's going to get a chance to battle Rory McIlroy and Scottie Scheffler and Xander Schauffele and everybody else week in and week out. And we're going to learn whether he's up to that task. And I believe that he's going to put up a lot of good results moving forward. We talked about the distance off the tee. His short game is splendid. He made that 4-foot putt for a victory look routine. I mean, he is cool, calm, and collected on the putting surfaces in most scenarios. I saw him hit a couple of weak shots on Sunday, but we'll let those slide, try to get your first individual victory. So we're going to learn a lot about Ben Griffin over the course of the next 3 months or so and how deep he can make this run into the FedexCup playoffs, because he's going to be well positioned in both the OWGR and in those FedexCup points come Monday morning.
All right, bullet used, so we will leave the Tommy Fleetwood conversation for another day. Instead, let's explore the week that was here for Scottie Scheffler, because again, we could talk about how high the floor is, 8 under at the end of the week, a T4, but I want to talk about something with you guys that Trevor brought up a day ago. Felt like a little fatigue was building in here for Scottie. All that's been asked, all that he's accomplished. If fatigue is the issue, the place you're going next is a place that asks plenty of a golfer in terms of what you have in your tank. How do you project Scottie into the Memorial, and what have you made of this week, Rick?
Well, I think the fatigue thing is real. The schedule is nuts, gentlemen. I mean, the way that we lay out these golf tours, especially at this point of the year, it's big event after big event after big event. We're seeing Rory McIlroy not even playing the Memorial. He's opted to take that week off. He's going to play the Canadian Open. There was some week in there he was going to have to take off. So this is a really, really grueling portion of the schedule. Scottie did not get in his proper preparation. You know, Monday and Tuesday were a little bit different than normal in terms of getting to the golf course and getting his work in. And you're right, Joe. I mean, Muirfield Village is not a golf course that you just want to roll into at 60%. The good news is, I think now that Scottie is back into the routine of things, he's going to get to Muirfield Village, early in the week as expected. He's going to be able to lean on his strengths, which is his tee to green play. Remember, this is the event last year. He basically set the shot length record for most strokes gained tee to green. One of the worst putting weeks we've ever seen from him. But this is a place he really should be able to separate himself. So I think he should be, drooling a little bit and waiting till Thursday morning, excited to get there.
I think it might have been more preparation, like Rick mentioned, as opposed to the fatigue factor. Because you think about Scheffler, he's such a creature of habit. He's someone who really harps on his preparation. It's something that he always talks about, being able to go into each tournament like it's a brand new one and kind of erase what happened last week. And as Rick mentioned, he wasn't on the golf course Monday. He wasn't on the golf course Tuesday. He only played 9 holes there on Wednesday. He was at the hockey game Wednesday night too, and it was a little bit of a sluggish start. He said afterwards he felt like Friday he kind of played himself out of this tournament, and he played 3 good rounds of golf instead. And unfortunately on Friday, gave up his chance to win this tournament. So I think going into the Memorial, he's taking tomorrow off, traveling to Ohio, and that preparation, that routine is going to get back in full swing. And I think the key for Scheffler going into Oakmont, Joe, I know you didn't even ask about this, is he has that week break that he did not have last week going into Pinehurst #2. So it's not a brutal week at the PGA, a brutal week at Chuck Schwab, and then a brutal week at Memorial, and then on to the U.S. Open. He has that off week that I think will serve him well.
Yeah, strategically placed that off week prior to the PGA as well. We'll see how he comes out here at Memorial and then the majors that follow. Scheffler does fail to complete that Plex double that we only saw Hogan complete back in the 40s. DFW good for one win this season, and we roll on with Scotty as he looks for more at the Memorial, where he will be the defending champ once again. Time now for your FedEx Cup update presented by FedEx, where now meets next. And a look at that board has Ben Griffin all the way up to number 5, trailing just a handful, including Justin Thomas, Sepp Straka, Rory McIlroy, and Scotty Scheffler. All of the top 5 multi-time winners on tour this season. Outside of Thomas, it's Griffin again in the winner's circle. All right, back with the guys to explore what this means. And right now it could be a bit murky when you look at the points and project them forward, but what might this Sunday mean when we're thinking Atlanta, Rick?
Probably locks Ben Griffin's ticket to Atlanta by all accounts, right? You know, 1 victory usually does that. 2 will certainly do it. But I think the way that these guys view it now, it's not just getting to Atlanta anymore. It's getting to Atlanta, having 4 good rounds, and potentially changing the course of your career. Now, that doesn't happen for Rory McIlroy or Scotty Scheffler. Whether they win the Tour Championship or not, they're going to be just fine. Ben Griffin, though, is looking to get himself in the best position possible over the course of the next couple of months so that he can make a deep run at Eastlake. And he is setting himself up for that in a big way right now. We talked about how now he's going to get a lot of these free points at signature events moving forward. He's going to be in all the big-time tournaments, so it's unlikely that he drops significantly. Ben Griffin's putting himself in a really good position for the rest of the year.
And I think something to keep in mind with Griffin is with that win with the Zurich Classic, you don't really get all the benefits. You get less FedEx Cup points. You don't get all the exemptions into major championships. One way to solve that is by playing your way into the Tour Championship, and obviously winning helped that by pushing him to number 5. I always think about Will Zalatoris and him being forced to withdraw after his back injury a few FedEx Cup playoffs ago, and him dropping to number 30, although he was top 5 entering that week. So like Rick mentioned, if he's able to kind of maintain this spot, even if he drops a little bit going into the Tour Championship, Griffin's set up for a massive payday potentially.
It's a place that belonged to one Ben, and it belongs to another here on Sunday. Patrick McDonald and Rick Gehman, we appreciate the insight as always, fellas.